numerous impacts on our city, but saw no need to involve us. The question is why? Was this exclusion purposeful or out of incompetence? In the invitation Eric received from the county regarding our participation in the project management team, it states our goal is to engage all municipal partners so that we can move forward together. It should be noted that we are not a partner in this project. The project appears to have started at some point in 2019. Those involved were Washington County, City of Stillwater, and Summit Development. The City of Oak Park Heights was not asked to participate and had no knowledge of the process was underway. At this point, the parties involved apparently came to what the developer describes as a commitment and understanding that the county would be constructing a new section of County Road. Summit Development, working with the county, designed a roadway to maximize the benefit to the developer without regard to the adjoining communities. Let me show you an example of how they have altered the facts to mislead the public, the press, and possibly some members of the county board in order to justify their actions. This is slide 1. This is a page from a presentation to the county board given on April 18th of this year, the day the county moved to take over 58th Street. The page was meant to show that they had an open process. There are a number of misleading facts, but I would like to focus on the public open house that they held in September of 2020 and the postcard shown. Slide number 2. This is an enlargement of the image of the postcard. The first line reads, Washington County is beginning a public engagement and preliminary design process to investigate opportunities to extend 58th Street west of Stillwater Boulevard. Slide number 3. I would note that Oak Park Heights engaged in this process. In fact, we provided comment in that we made available the public impact analysis and draft Manning Avenue interchange study. Both of these studies were commissioned and paid for by this council. No further public engagement was held, and this process apparently died. So to sum up this section, this was a very limited attempt to portray public engagement, and Oak Park Heights was engaged when the process was abandoned by the county. Remember, this is September of 2020. Slide number 4. This is the cover sheet from a planning report prepared by Stillwater City staff for their planning commission in April of 2020. Among those who reviewed this report prior to its publication was, and it's hard to see, but you can see it on there, was Washington County. Take note of the fact that this was 5 months before the county supposedly began a process of seeking to review opportunities for extension and begin preliminary design. Slide number 5. This page is from the planning document that deals with Washington County Highway Department involvement in the development and construction of the Stillwater section of the proposed County Road 15 extension. Obviously, this would affect Oak Park Heights in that it assumes, 1, that the road would be built, and 2, in order to make the connection, the location of the road in our city would be dictated by where the county and the developer decided would be best. The document clearly states that the county has been working with Summit Development to design and construct this road. This report also states the platted right-of-way and final design will be very similar to that seen on the attached site. There are still a few details to be worked out. That was a quote. A few details to be worked out seems a far cry from the beginning of process or preliminary design that they attempted to tell the public 5 months later. The area in green, highlighted in green, notes the developer had received conditional approval in November of 2019 from Browns Creek Watershed District, 10 months earlier than the supposed opening of the process. When the actual preliminary planning began and when the developer received from the county what he later referred to as, and this is a quote, the long-standing commitment and understanding that 58th Street / County State Aid Highway 15 segment would be completed. In reality, when this process really began is unknown, but it's clearly long before they asked Oak Park Heights or the public for input. The county would now like us to partner in this project, but it is clear that it's only to justify getting us financially involved. No previous questions would be permitted. Issues such as traffic studies would be deferred till after construction. We would be expected to trust that if the problems we anticipate occur, that they may address them. I, for one, do not trust the county or Commissioner Kriesel to do anything to respect and protect our interests. I would recommend that the City of Oak Park Heights notify the county that we will not be participating in this project, that it may be clear that we will not participate financially, that we feel that the county's cost share plan is inequitable and arbitrary, so we cannot support it, that the City of Oak Park Heights will not provide any written support to any government agency or body for support of the county seeking outside funding, and we reserve the right to oppose such actions. So that was my opinion, so I don't know what anybody else thinks.
Comments? Anyone?
Well, I mean, I would agree that there's something not right with this process, and for some reason, it's obviously that this thing's on a fast track to go forward no matter what, and obstacles be damned. I don't like the fact that we wouldn't at least attend the first meeting, or at least stay on the inside of some information. I don't know if, but I do think we need to make sure that they understand we're not participating financially. And I think that point has been very made constantly, at least when anybody asks me about it. But I don't know.
No, I agree. I think that, and we talked a little bit about it earlier, that I do believe that you, Eric, the administrator, and our city engineer should attend at least the first meeting. Just background information, bring it back to us, but make it very, very clear that you're there to listen, gather information, and not to make a commitment on any part by the city. And not necessarily even to commit to go to the second or third or fourth meeting, but just be there to take information. Anybody else?
I agree with what we said at the work session. I think being there for that first meeting, because I know we heard about the city's desire, or the county's desire, to take unilateral action from a Stillwater council member in December because they were having conversations without us. So I'd rather prefer to be at the table and get that information than hear about it secondhand.
I think that was what we kind of discussed, was the fact that we would go as an observer and find out what they're saying, but make it clear that we're not getting dragged into the, well, now that you've showed up, you're a partner.
It's not in writing.
That was Commissioner Kriesel when I said that he had, that they had an agreement, and like I said, the wording is always, they have an understanding and commitment. And Commissioner Kriesel says, well, there is nothing in writing, so we haven't agreed to this.
Well, see, that's the trouble, is that the guy has a verbal commitment for somebody that thinks now plans, he's not, is he going to go back on his verbal commitments?
I mean, that's why I needed to have it on the record that they were operating without us. And they keep, even at their meetings, they keep saying, well, we involved Oak Park, that we hope Oak Park Heights would be engaged. Well, we tried to be engaged, but they,
I think the city's made protest T-shirts in the past. Consider sending Eric with a protest T-shirt if that would make it even
We
more
had
clear.
signs.
Yeah, we had signs and we had T-shirts.
We've done it all. It's a great.
So we reserve
So,
that right.
Kevin, do you want us to take a motion that Eric and the city engineer attend that first meeting, or just direction good enough?
I think the direction's clear.
Okay.
I don't think it needs formal action.
do you want to send anything in writing to them so that they have it in writing?
I
That
can
we're not going to participate financially?
I think we've said enough in writing already. It's been pretty clear all the way along. I think just get the information, and then if we have to get stronger or come up with something else, then do
Plus,
it.
they're probably watching the meeting right now, so.
I'm sure.
That's
We
kind
can-
of the reason why I asked to have it.
I
We
did
weren't on the
communicate.
agenda.
I did communicate with Jennifer Wagenius and say, look, we don't want to we want to be there at that first meeting for the sake of listening and but also not to. I mean, they have their own process, whether we like it or not to cause them problems either, at least at that kind of staff level. And so I think they understand that. So let's
We
find
sent
out what
that
they're.
letter with the 4 questions on it and really didn't get full answers. So maybe at that first meeting, you might be able to get some complete answers for us.
I will
I'd be
gladly
happy.
inquire and
would
see
be
if they
helpful.
can flesh those out a little bit more. That might be helpful.
Anything else? Any other comments?
I move that we adjourn if there's nothing further.
Nope.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Johnson, second by Councilmember Doherty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, I thought we would go after 7. We did pretty well.
Whatever happened to our discussion?